Hey guys, it's Mr. Ward. For those of you who don't know me, a couple of years ago, I filled in for Ms. Lowe when she was on maternity leave, and I've been around Flat Rock Middle School since then, from time to time, filling in as a one-day sub or for longer periods of time when other teachers went on maternity leave. Anyway, Ms. Lowe is aware of the fact that before I became a teacher, I was an engineer for an overseas oil company, and she asked me to tell you a little bit about my career as an engineer and to give you some advice if you were thinking about becoming an engineer yourself. So, why did I get into engineering? Let's go back to when I was in middle school and high school. At, I always liked science and math. And not only that, but even though there were lots of other smart people in the class, even some of the smart people didn't think math and science was as easy as I thought it was, nor as fun. So I liked the idea that I was excelling at something not everybody else was. And also, one of the things I really enjoyed about both science and math was the logical thread that all the lessons had. If you kept up with your lessons, then you could uh, continue on without missing anything. If you missed a lesson or two, or uh, God forbid, a week of lessons, you had a hard time catching up. So I like the fact that there was a, a, a from one lesson to the next, you learned what you were supposed to learn, and then the next lesson, you could apply it to that. And before you knew it, the school year was over and you'd learned everything you needed to know. So I got to my senior year, and I started looking around at careers and decided I would become an engineer. So I went to University of Virginia, got an undergraduate degree, Princeton University, for advanced for degree graduate school, and then because I was up in the New York area, ended up getting a job with a Manhattan, New York City based overseas oil company. So after 2 years working in New York, the company sent me and my wife over to Sydney, Australia, and I went through training in everything an engineer could do for an oil company. I worked at the refining plant, at the lubricating oil manufacturing plant, things like engine oils and that sort of thing, a grease plant, the quality control lab, where we made sure that whatever product was coming out of the manufacturing plants and refineries met the specifications it was supposed to meet, uh, and the head office. And so I worked for the oil company for 27 years, had assignments in, besides the first one in Australia, Japan, New Zealand, Sydney, Australia a second time, and Singapore before I retired at the age of 50 and moved back to North Carolina. I decided then that since I liked math and science, I could become a math and science teacher, and I did. Anyway, so one of the things that is important is, suppose you want to be an engineer, what do you have to do? Well, right now, I mean, sometime soon, talk to your counselor about what courses you need to be taking. Most engineers these days, by the time that they start as a freshman in college, have already taken a bunch of advanced placement courses like AP Calculus, AP Chemistry, AP Physics. If you're going into biomedical engineering, AP Biology, AP Statistics, and a course in computer programming and computer hardware. So that's a lot of extra courses to take, and you need to get started now to make sure that you are taking the most challenging courses you can take, because you might decide after taking a couple of challenging math and science courses that you're really not interested in putting that much work into those particular types of classes. And so one other thing that I would tell you is start right now, learn everything you can while you're in school. Everything you learn this year will make next year easier, and so on and so on, until the next thing you know, you've graduated, have a good job as an engineer or whatever profession you might choose. So I've already talked about making a commitment now, which means if you're in the 7th grade, for example, then you've got 8th grade, 4 years of high school, 4 or 5 years of college. So you're making a commitment to hard work and doing some very challenging things. Why would you do that? Well, for me, because when I got to be an engineer, I really enjoyed doing the work. And the company enjoyed having somebody like me that was a logical thinker, problem solver. And so they paid me a lot of money. And so that's the second reason you might want to consider being an engineer, is that the money is very good. For example, engineers start out making anywhere from 57, 58,000 a year up to 75,000 a year. And the sky's the limit after that. Depends on how much you want to get involved in engineering management. Or even for me in the oil company, they wanted engineers in every position that they could get them in. So, for example, our son went to NC State University, got an undergraduate degree in computer engineering, and at the age of 22, this was about 9 years ago, at the age of 22, was able to get a job making $62,500 a year as a 22-year-old. So a teacher, for example, might start out making, let's say 35, 36,000 a year to start. And then the maximum that a teacher would make would be about $55,000 to $60,000 after teaching for 30 years or more. So the companies ask a lot of engineers in getting ready for the job that they have to do. Big commitment in high school and college, but they pay well. So I will wrap up now and let you go. So I would say before I go, go make a mental note that the next opportunity you have, if you think you might want to go into engineering, talk to your guidance counselor and see what suggestions they have for you. Take your SATs as early and as often as you can, because engineering schools require a fairly high grades on the math part of the SAT. And I think I will stop for now. So don't forget to thank Ms. Lowe every chance you get. You're lucky to have somebody as dedicated as she is as your teacher. That's it from me. See you later. Bye.